What's up guys, and welcome back to another video. Today's video we're going to do a complete breakdown of this type of machine. If you have a machine that has a filter that comes out the top, this is a video for you. We're going to not only take the drum out, we're going to also show you how to take out the motor, replace the fan. We'll also take off the heating element. So no matter what repair you're doing, if you need to know how to take a machine apart and put it back together, this should be the video for you. Let's get started, but before we start, unplug the machine, because we don't want to die. All right guys, we're going to start by taking the top of the machine up, pulling the front off, and removing the drum. So the first step is we got to take the filter out, just set it off to the side. And there's two Phillip head screws, one right here, one right here. But before you start, so you don't accidentally drop them, take a cloth, put it in that hole. That way, if you accidentally drop these Phillip heads, it's not going to be a nightmare for you. It's actually going to be real easy. They'll just sit right there. Otherwise, you're going to take the whole back off, but we're doing that anyway, but you'll have to take the whole back off to get back to those screws. All right, from right here, I like to do a thing called flexing. You're going to pull the back of the machine, push the front, and it's going to allow it to come up just like that. If you don't want to do that, you can take something that's flat that will not mar your paint, and you can push it about an inch in. Right there, you'll push in a little bit and twist the knife, and it'll also pop it up. So either way, the other way is just a little faster. Then you're going to take your cloth, set it out. You're going to lean this back. If you have it the right distance away from the wall, it'll just lean against the wall, which is kind of handy. Just make sure it won't fall back on you. All right, from right here, we're going to take out a 5/16 screw right here, a 5/16 right here, and we're going to undo the plug. So let's do that now. All right, from right here, we're going to lift up a little bit and lift up on that side after this one's loose. Same thing over here, just up a tiny bit. And this is going to come loose. What's happening here is there's a hook here, there's a hook here, and there's a square hole here and a square hole there, and it's just sitting in those, so you have to lift it up and off those hooks. So now we're just going to lean this against the wall. From right here, we're going to reach underneath and unhook the belt from the motor. All right, now we're going to lift it up, and we got this guy off. Now we're going to move on to taking off the rollers. All right, so from right here, there's a keeper, a little black keeper right here that goes over this little piece of metal. And if you just take a pair of pliers and just kind of gently go back and forth a little bit, you'll see it slowly comes loose. Just don't let it pop out and lose it. And boom, we got that keeper. Just don't grab it so hard that you bend this piece. We're just barely flexing back and forth. Put this guy where you won't lose it. It's black. If you got a bunch of lint in here, it'll easily get lost. All right, from right here, I like to take any type of sharp pick or a sharp flathead. I think it's called a key tool. You can get this from Harbor Freight. We're going to set up 4. They come in super handy. You're going to hook underneath this plastic triangle and just pull it off real slow without breaking it. It's just a piece of plastic. You don't want to pull too hard. And it's just a keeper. There's a little groove it goes in. Set that off to the same spot so you don't accidentally lose it. And then we can pull the wheel off. And boom, wheel's off. If you were just replacing the rollers, you're nearly done. And if you are breaking down this point to do anything else, I recommend go ahead and take these off. And I like to put a little bit of white lithium grease right here. It makes it so much quieter. All right, for the wheel on that side, it's much easier. It's exactly what this one was, only that wheel is going to be without the little metal brace that helps hold it up. So it's actually a little bit easier. All right, we're gonna move on to taking the motor off. From right here, you can go ahead and pull this pulley off by just leaning it forward a little bit. A lot of times it'll just fall off when you pull the drum off, and go ahead and take it off. Again, you can oil this too and make it roll a lot easier, make it a little bit quieter at the very end. We're going to go ahead and grab right here on this hook with the pliers, and we're just going to slowly lean it up and it's just gonna come loose. This is a weird little keeper, but there it is. There's also one on the back side. We're going to grab onto it the same way. Squeeze it, lift up a little bit, and it's gonna come loose. There's your second keeper. And it's only can go on to that thing one way when you go to put it back on there, so you don't have to worry about which way it goes back on. All right, so we're gonna unclip the top one, and then we're just gonna turn it by lifting up out of that track just a tiny bit right here, and it'll slowly turn, and then you can unclip the bottom one, and this guy will just pop right out. All right, from here, turn it back to where it was. You'll feel it fall back into place, and this plug area should be about a 45 going down. You'll take a crescent wrench and put it on the nut, and then it's a plastic nut on the back that you're gonna hook it to and lean it against this shaft. From here, all you have to do is go clockwise. This is reverse threads into that fan, so you're gonna have to turn this clockwise to remove it. So you're gonna grab it here and turn it clockwise, and it's gonna come off. If you're having issues with this and it feels like it's going to strip out this plastic nut on the back, don't strip it out. Check out my video on removing the motor out of this type of dryer. I'll link it in the description below. I have a trick on how to get it off there without breaking it. So if it feels like it's tight, don't break the fan. First, try the trick I have. And occasionally it will get stuck and it will break. It's just the worst thing to take off of this machine is that fan. That fan is getting hot and cold and hot and cold, and it's a metal bolt that's rusting, and it just really seizes on sometimes. But if you're lucky and it just comes right off, you'll undo it all the way by going clockwise, and then you can slowly... All right. Sometimes they're a nightmare to get off there, but now you can slowly get it all the way off. And now we're going to take the housing off the back. Even if you're just replacing your motor, I still recommend taking the housing off the back and cleaning it out. You'll see in another video where I do a lint clean out that's where most of the lint gets built up in these machines. So it's a good idea while you're already working the machine, take that off and clean it out. All right, so we got the belt off, the drum out, the motor out, and the rollers off. So now we're going to turn it around and take off the heating element. And we'll also show you how to take the fan case off and where the fan actually is in case you broke that. This will be a good video for you too. Let this guy down, and we're gonna turn the dryer around. All right, from right here, we're going to take all these screws out all the way around the frame. And this one has a water spritzer or whatever for the steam. It's got 2 extra screws. If your machine doesn't have that, you won't have these 2 extra screws here, but other than that, it's gonna be exactly the same. All right, from right here, we're gonna lean it down and lift it up, and it's gonna come undone. All right, so let's take off the fan shroud. 4 1/4-inch screws. From here, we just lift it up a little bit and take it out. All right, normally I just cleaned this machine out, and normally it would have a bunch of lint build up here and here. It's very common. Go ahead and clean that out. If you notice that this foam seal that goes around this has completely deteriorated, you'll have to replace it. Check the links down below. I'll see if I can find the foam piece. From here, the fan is just sitting there because we took off the motor earlier. So there's your fan, and if it broke, or you have a broken fan, because occasionally a kid or something will drop something down this guy, and it'll land in the fan, and the fan will bust to pieces. So that's the video for you, and I'll get to that video later. All right, now we're gonna take the heating element off. Depending on which machine you'll have, there may be 3 wires on the heating element, and there may be 2 wires. This is a 2-wire machine. But you're just going to take these 2 guys off, and obviously, again, we are unplugged. One wire there, and you could also do this with pliers. One there. All right, if you notice that this is super, super loose against theirs, occasionally these stab-ons will get opened up a little bit, and this will create a hot point. Make sure it's a nice tight connection that you're putting back on there. From here, there's 2 1/4-inch screws, one here and one here. actually no, this is the problem with this one, is the heating element is seriously burned up. I can tell when I first got it that there's pieces of the heating element all underneath here. So heating element's going to be replaced eventually in this guy. All right, that's it. We could take off, there's a thermal fuse here, and there's a low limit thermostat there, and this guy over here is the high limit thermostat. And we're going to take everything and put it back together again. So let's start with this guy, because I don't have my new heating element in yet. We're going to put this guy right back in there. All right, and you see how it fits up inside there? There's a little bump right here, and these two bumps slide up into it. So it's a little bit difficult, but it'll go right into place. And you'll notice when you have it in the right spot, the holes will line back up behind there, and we'll put our 2 1/4-inch screws back in it. And we're going to go ahead and put the fan back into place. And we're going to put the shroud back on it. Now, if you don't feel comfortable with knowing that you can put that fan back on, you can have a second person go ahead and hold the fan and screw it back in for you. Remember, it's reverse thread, so you're going to have to go counterclockwise. But I know that I can get it back on there, so I'm just going to leave it in place and put the shroud back around it. From right here, there's a hook on the bottom of this that goes into a spot right here between there and there. We're just going to lay that on there, and we're going to lean it up, and we're in place. And now we're just going to put the screws all the way back around. All right, now we're going to turn back around. All right, now we're going to put the wheel back on, followed by the little plastic triangle guy. It just pushes on with your fingers, and you'll feel it go over that edge. And then put the metal bar on, and then push this guy in place. It's just a keeper. I've got the motor in place. From here, you're just going to tighten the motor onto that shaft. You go over the top of that, snug it onto it. And this time we're going the opposite way, and we are just snugging this up. So you can just hold this with your hand, and we're going counterclockwise. I'm going to grab onto that shaft and just give it a little snug. All right, from here, I have the motor turned up. You can see it's just like that. This way I can easily put this plug on. I'll snap the top first, make sure it snaps on, and then snap the bottom and check. Make sure that is snapped on in both places. If this is not snapped all the way in, you'll put the whole thing together and it may not come on. All right, from here, when you roll it down, you'll feel it fall into place. So again, it's just like that. It falls into place. This is about a 45 facing down. All right, let's do the front first because the back's hard to see. I'm gonna hook that, and I'm just gonna come over the top. And this one's easy to do, so you can actually do these by hand. But in the back, it's gonna be a lot harder. And you're gonna grab it with your pliers and either hit it down, or you can flex it down over this if you can push it hard enough. Some people take flatheads and they'll put a big flathead and they'll push down, or sometimes they'll take a hammer and hammer it real quick and push it over. However you need to do it. This guy is harder to do because it's in the back and you can't really see it very well. Just like that. All right, from here, the belt has a flat side and a rib side. Ribbed goes towards the drum. We're just gonna lift it up. You'll see where the old mark where the belt used to be. Put it in place. Make sure it's good and in place. Give it a good turn. Checking that seal on the back side. Make sure it's not flipped up. And when you think you're good to go, reach down underneath. You're gonna hook your pulley. Give it a little turn, counterclockwise turn. Make sure everything looks good. Again, checking that felt seal in the back. And then just barely let it sit on its own. It should hold itself up. And then grab the front. Again, we have 2 square holes and 2 hooks. We got to get those guys on first. All right, we're going to put our 5/16 screws that hold them in place back in. Just hand start them, because if you accidentally drop these screws, you have to take the whole front end back off to find those, and it's a real pain. All right, while you're right here, go ahead and hook up your lid switch. Then give the drum a good turn. Make sure you're on your front seal as well. It should easily sit on both sides. Tighten them up. Alright, put your lid down, push down, grab your rag, put it back in the hole in case you drop these screws, because you really don't want to go back after these. The last ones are those 2 Phillips heads from the very beginning. Alright. That's it, guys. That's a full tear down all the way through. Again, if you had issues with that motor, taking the motor off, I have a trick to getting those off if it's stuck on the fan. Check out that video. I also have tons of videos, including the heating element, all kinds of videos on this type of dryer. If this is your dryer, I have every repair video. Check out the playlist below. We'll see y'all next time. Thanks for watching, guys, and please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. Also, if you're looking for that video I was talking about where you can find the exact right part for a great price, it's the one on the left of the screen. And the one on the right of the screen is a playlist of every repair video I've ever done for this appliance. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see y'all next time.